For analysis after day one of the trial, we go now to James Sample. He's a law professor at Hofstra University in New York. Thanks so much for joining us on the program. Tell us how consequential this trial is for the former president.
Well, it's incredibly consequential in the sense that, as Karina's report articulated, it's the first time ever that a former president has been criminally indicted. So the jury selection process is underway in a true first of its kind criminal case in American history. And from a consequence perspective, there are severe potential consequences. I disagree with the characterization in the private report that these are trumped up charges, to use the phrase that she used. These are felony charges that are routinely charged in cases we never hear about because we don't pay attention to white collar crime on a day-to-day basis unless the particular defendant is a celebrity. The potential charges in these cases, if they resulted in a conviction, could result in incarceration for penalties of up to 4 years. Now, any term of incarceration for the former president would be extraordinary, and he's also facing the possibility of being held in contempt of court for repeatedly violating the provisions and parameters that the judge has set down with respect to attacks on court personnel, witnesses in the case, and witness intimidation. This is a very, very serious matter.
You mentioned the jury selection. More than half of the first group of jurors has been let go, indicating that they could not be impartial. Is it really feasible that you can get a jury, that will be fair and reasonable in this case, given that Trump is a politician, a former president, and by nature you're either likely to like him or not? How will they get a jury that can be fair here?
It's going to be extremely difficult, and I think that the process will likely take longer than a week, maybe even 2 weeks, and it might take longer than that conceivably, because it is true that almost every American citizen and every New Yorker, the jury pool here, has an opinion about Donald Trump. That's almost never true with a criminal defendant. On the other hand, if you were to say that just because people know this particular defendant or know of this particular defendant, we should just not go forward, that would be the ultimate miscarriage of justice. So is it going to be difficult to get a jury that's fair and impartial? Of course. But remember that Mr. Trump, now as a criminal defendant, is entitled to the processes and protections that we give to criminal defendants. And that includes the fact that no matter how this jury is ultimately selected, and it will take time, he only really needs to get one juror to hold out and to result in a mistrial. So yes, New York is a blue district from a voting perspective.
Right.
Mr. Trump has done business here for years. He's not viewed favorably, but the prosecutors have to obtain a unanimous verdict to get a conviction.
We've just got a minute left. The judge issued a gag order, but to what extent can Trump use this trial as a platform for his campaign? Given Trump's very active social media and public presence, how could it influence the court case if he does?
Well, I think he'll definitely try and use it as a platform. He'll do exactly what he did today and claim this is a witch hunt and send out fundraising emails indicating that he's being not just prosecuted, but persecuted. But his persecution complex comes with a reality predicate, which is that if you don't want to be prosecuted, don't do the things that he is alleged to have done in 4 separate criminal cases. This is finally the rule of law having its day. Evidence and facts and documentary evidence, witnesses will be the way in which this case is tried. It's not going to be tried by press conferences on the courthouse steps, no matter how hard he tries to do that.
All right, James Sample, really appreciate your time.
Thank you.